All right. And then we've got our college football week 13 picks. It's a bit of a down slate in comparison to the last couple of weeks, but we still got a few good games on the docket. And let's start things off with probably the best of the week. Number 15 USC at number 7 Oregon. Battle of the Big Ten, despite both being West Coast teams. Oregon is 9.5-point home favorites with a 59.5-point over under. Braden, who do you like in this one?
I think I'm going to go with Oregon to win this one and to cover. USC has been a team I've been pretty impressed with throughout the year. I've been fairly high on them. I think I might have had them in the top 10 of my personal rankings. After this last week of games, I was impressed with their win over Iowa. Kind of a comfort behind win there. But I think Oregon is just the better team, and USC has to go play at Autzen Stadium. I believe Oregon's coming off a bye, correct? No, they
Oregon
play
played them
Friday
both
against
this last
Minnesota.
week. So
Yeah,
basically,
yeah. So like a somewhat of a very mini bye. I think I'm going to take Oregon to win and cover the 9.5 point spread, and I will take the under at 59.5.
yeah, I'm going to take Oregon to win and cover as well. We've touched on both these teams quite a bit now over the last few weeks. Two great offenses, but Oregon's defense is where they had the edge. This is maybe not an elimination game for Oregon necessarily. It feels like it might be with where they're at in the playoff rankings, but for sure is for USC. But this feels like a game where I trust Dan Lanning more than Lincoln Riley, and that's where it really comes down to for me. So I will take the under as well in this one, just barely. I will take the Ducks 34-24 as they get a big win. We have number 22 Mizzou taking on number 8 Oklahoma, who just knocked off my Crimson Tide last weekend. Oklahoma 7.5-point home favorites with an over/under of 42.5. So quite the opposite of that USC Oregon game. Braden, who do you like here?
Yeah, both these teams have phenomenal defenses. Oklahoma is averaging just 14.8 points per game allowed. Missouri is at 19.9. I think we're in for a very low scoring affair here. Missouri is obviously going to be starting freshman quarterback Nate Zollers again, with Bo Prabula out for the year. So I'm going to take Oklahoma to win and cover this game. I think it's going to be fairly low scoring, so I'll take the under as well. I'm going to go Oklahoma 22, Missouri 14.
And at this point, if Oklahoma wins out, they should be a shoe-in for the playoff. Mizzou has been extremely shaky as of late. I saw something that said Bo Prabula has a chance to play in this game. I don't know how big of a chance that is, but that would be huge for Mizzou. These are two of the best. These are the two best defenses in the SEC, 1 and 2. So there's a reason that over/under is so low at 42.5 points. I'm just not sure Mizzou is going to be able to move the ball vertically enough to make this, a truly competitive game. Their strength is running the ball with Ahmad Hardy and Jamal Roberts, and OU has an elite run defense. Don't mind me. I'm just growing up over here in the blink of an eye. I think this will be an extremely low-scoring game with, like I said, two of the best defenses in the country. This might be a first to 20 points wins type of game. So I will take Oklahoma to win. I do think Mizzou will score late, and I think that will get them to the cover. But I will take the under in a Oklahoma win, 21-17. And then moving from the SEC to the ACC, we have Pittsburgh at number 16 Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech 2.5-point home favorites with a 62.5-point over/under. So these lines are just all over the place with where we're going today. Braden, who do you like in this battle?
Yeah, Georgia Tech has refused to play a normal football game all season. Every time they look good against a good team, they followed up by looking terrible against a bad team and somehow still winning. They almost lost to a miserable 1-9 Boston College team this past week, ended up winning on a last second field goal, 38-36. But I don't really have a ton of confidence in Georgia Tech right now. I think Pitt, they basically just laid down and let Notre Dame beat them last week, knowing the game did not matter. I think they've got quite a bit of plays saved up for this one against Georgia Tech. I'm going to take Pitt to win and obviously cover as a 2.5-point underdog. I think this game will go under the total of 62.5 as well. There's really been no consistency between how often these teams are scoring or, whether it's a high scoring or a low scoring game this year. So 62.5 feels a little bit high. I'm going to go Pitt 31, Georgia Tech 27.
I mean, you might have just read off my notes as far as I know. That's exactly what I was going to say. Both these teams have put themselves in firm position in the ACC or can put themselves in firm position in the ACC with a win. I don't trust either team. It seems like last week was a look ahead spot for both. Pitt got crushed, and then Georgia Tech survived a 1-10 Boston College team. Going into the game last week, I said Jeremiah Love versus the Pitt defense, or the Pitt run defense specifically, was the matchup of the game, and Pitt got gashed. This week, it's going to be Haynes King versus the Pitt run defense for me. I think Pat Narduzzi, like you said, didn't show his hand that much last week in preparation for this game. So I will take the Panthers to take down Georgia Tech as well. I will just barely take the under in a Pittsburgh 34-28 win, cementing themselves as an ACC favorite. And then the last game that we're going to predict for college football today, number 11 BYU at Cincinnati. BYU is a 2.5-point road favorite with an over-under of 54.5 points. Who wins this one, Braden?
Well, BYU fans already hate me based on my prediction of them to lose to Texas Tech, so I do feel somewhat obligated to pick Cincinnati here. I am going to go with BYU here. I wanted to pick the Bearcats, but their passing attack has just been miserable for the last couple of weeks. Threw for just 154 yards against Arizona last week, 221 yards in a 31-point loss to Utah, 111 passing yards in a win over Baylor. I mean, outside of the Oklahoma State game, Brendan Sorsby has not eclipsed 200 yards passing since October 4th against Iowa State. Cincinnati does not really give me a whole lot of hope right now. The spread looked like a trap spread on paper, with BYU being a slight favorite, but I think I have to go with the Cougars here, as much as I am a little bit of a pessimist in their chances to win out.
And yeah, I'm sure that hurt with the pure hatred that you have for BYU down deep in your heart. Um, but yeah, I mean, 3 weeks ago, this looked like this could be a game that could decide a playoff spot. Now it's the fourth best game of the weekend. BYU is fighting for their lives at this point. They cannot afford another loss. Cincy has looked pretty bad in their last couple of games. And I wonder if coming into this game, they just kind of given up on the season now with 3 losses. BYU just beat the shit out of TCU last week. I think it was like 45-13 or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Um, so BYU is going to be fired up coming in here. BYU wins and they cover comfortably. The under hits in a 35-17 victory for the Cougars.
Yeah, and I don't know if I gave a score prediction, but I'm going to go with BYU. I'm going to say 27, Cincinnati 19.